like people see how the law is not necessarily for them because they don't see the premise on why this the law was like established, or what is the law really trying to reveal? You know what I'm saying? So they'd be like, all right, well, take away the law, because the law just seems like it's brutal. It looks like it's just a no thing. But then when you don't consider the principle on which the law sits on, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you have definitely an issue with what the law is.
All right. So this week I was watching a video on Cannon's class, and it was a video with KRS-One. Take a look.
Let's look at African civilization. African civilization never really had leadership. We had principles and laws. This is where Europeans get the idea that a nation should be governed by laws and not by people. Now, if we go back to Africa on it, we would see that we don't need a leader. We need principles. In our community, it's the principles that are the leadership.
Right.
Laws themselves are the leadership. We know that we can be corrupt. We can fall. We can be weak.
Humans are flawed.
Humans are flawed.
The code is solid.
We already know that.
Right.
Okay. And there's another argument with that idea of humans being flawed. It's not that we're flawed, we're just animals.
Facts.
Put it that way. But come over here. No, we can do some crazy things. So if you want to run a nation, first let's put the law up front.
Okay.
What's the law?
Right.
The law will lead. The law will dictate who is going to be the leader.
Right.
The law will dictate what the community going to be doing.
Right.
But where's the law?
Well, I got a question. All right. So if someone doesn't have the same principles as you, how can they lead you?
I mean, they can lead you. It's just where they're going to lead you.
That's true. That's true. I'm thinking they. Well, go ahead, Reg.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm thinking, like, I think the premise, the issue is, I have two different principles. So what is the kind of leading that you're looking for? You know what I'm saying? From this individual that has a different principle. You know what I'm saying? Or is living their life based on a different principle? I think right from the premise of that initial statement is like, all right, so what are we really doing if somebody doesn't see things the way that I'm seeing it? You know what I'm saying? Because the end result of this particular leadership is not going to be based on something that I want realized for myself. You know what I mean?
So, the context of that that video was Nick Cannon asked them who is going to be our next great Black leader, and that was his response, or part of his response. KRS-One, and so in this country we have always looked to certain people, or at least looking back in the past, there are certain people, you know, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, are the two major people we consider like leaders that have been in Black history, let's say. Now, some would say we don't have that, you know? So I guess my question is, do we agree with KRS-One in that we don't necessarily need that, but instead we need shared principles? Or have a leader without establishing that first?
I don't know a different.
Here's the issue. Is that one, when they establish leadership, it's established while everybody has different principles and laws.
What's the difference between a barrel and a bucket?
So
No.
the issue, the solution is to set up a law and with principles in which everyone follows, and then through that, leaders will be established under the premise that everybody already follows the same principles. You know what I mean? It's kind of, it brings us, it brings us to the law of God. Everyone who's a believer already has that. They already have that. Those who do not follow it for themselves can't be leaders. So they continuously urge and thirst for others to do it. You see what I'm saying? But if an individual is doing it, others will see and they'll follow that one. They'll follow that one that does it.
Let me ask a question to that, right? So what comes first? Is it a principle, then the law? Or there's the law, then the principle, if you understand what I'm saying?
It's got to be
it looks
first.
You said what happened?
Well, we're disconnecting something that's the same. Like if I'm gonna tell you a law, it has the principle in it. It's not disconnected from the principle. If I give you a law or an instruction, it's only referencing an example of what the principle tells you to do. The principle is more broader than the actual law that's presented.
Right.
The law itself is directly connected to the principle. It's just giving you an example. It's like, for instance, thou shalt not kill, right? Thou shalt not kill is an example of the principle that you should not have malice towards your brother. There's a broader understanding of this law, but the instruction emphasizes on one aspect that leads you down into other aspects of the same principle.
And I see that a lot with in the Gospels. You hear all these instances of Messiah saying or expounding on the principle of the laws. Like, let's say with adultery, when he's saying, well, if you did it in your heart, so you already did it. I don't think he's not giving a new law. He's saying this is the principle behind what's already been established.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. This is where the problematic issues come, because like people see how the law is not necessarily for them because they don't see the premise on why the law was like established, or what is the law really trying to reveal? You know what I'm saying? So they'd be like, all right, well, take away the law, because the law just seems like it's brutal. It looks like it's just a no thing. But then when you don't consider the principle on which the law sits on, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you have definitely an issue with what the law is.
I think it's a good practice for anybody who believes in Scripture, believes in the Bible, to take a look at the laws that were given particularly to the children of Israel, and not just trying to memorize laws or anything like that, but trying to think about the principle behind each law. Because those principles he's giving you for a reason. He's giving them to govern their life based on principles. So there's a principle behind everything and a lesson behind everything.
Absolutely. And you know, principle develops, I wanted to point this out, principle develops culture. When you have the children of Israel, you're looking at a lot of laws and the way that they live, and we say this is the way the Jews live. Absolutely not. Like, they were given instructions on how to live by God. But their culture is not a Jewish culture. It's from God. That culture comes from God. So when we look at the scriptures and we say, I want to keep the feast, I want to follow this culture, we're not following Jewish culture, because they didn't even have it before Yah gave it to them. You see what I'm saying? That's why we can't implement our culture into the scriptures, because we're interrupting a culture that's already there.
Right.